Welcome to Laugh and Learn. Today we are talking about something many people are living right now. Maybe we are not complacent. Maybe we are dysregulated. Jennifer from My Holistic Self is here to help us explore baseline, stress recovery, and how we begin to come back to ourselves. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining this Laugh and Learn. I am joined by Jennifer from My Holistic Self.
Hello,
All
hello.
of Jennifer's links are below. Go over and subscribe. I am TarotStache. Thank you very much for being here. Show your support by liking and subscribing. It's the thing that is needed. And Jennifer, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to the conversation. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Yeah.
And this came up last month when you and I were trying to figure out a time, our schedule for we've talked about human design. We've done a lot of that, which has been great. And we were like going, oh, okay, what's the next topic? Well, this came up. And it's like, ooh, yeah, we need to talk about this. And because part of what's going on is in the world, there's so much coming at us.
Yeah.
And sometimes people see it, if people aren't actively doing something, they're seeing it as complacent. Where in fact, you had mentioned we've lost regulation.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes we're dysregulated, and what looks like poor self-control is actually insufficient recovery from repeated stress.
Yes.
Let me tell you, that one was a big deal for me. Big deal for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it gives us permission to recognize that we don't have to take it all on, that there is actually something else going on that we need to look at. And it brings us back to looking inside and going, where am I right now? What is happening inside of me in this moment? And then moving from that place as opposed to all the shoulds of everything that we should be doing in light of what's happening in the world.
That's very, very true. That's very, very true. And so this is, of course, for educational purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really, this is so important. I even have it on a shirt. But I think this is one of those things, Jennifer. This is one of those things that knowing when you need to get help is a key thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so.
Well, and this is where, and as we talk about the different states and things like that, we'll get into it, but really recognizing the narratives that we tell ourselves that actually are not helpful for us.
No, they're not. I do want to welcome some of the best chatters. I see Mere Dragon is here. I see Angie Burks. Plucky Heroine is going to be watching the playback. We have Timmy from Raven Tarot Meditation. I know Madame Maru is going to be watching the playback. I want to say hi to Jane the Secret Tarot, who may be watching and is taking a nap. But I just want to say thanks everybody. Thanks
Mhm.
best chatters. Thanks work lurkers. Thanks best lurkers and future lurkers, because
Mhm.
you're all here. And I hope when people find this, it's going to be what they need.
Yeah.
It's going to be what they need. Um, you have said this, and I'm going to ask you bluntly, is what are you seeing and about this topic, and why is it important now?
Fair. So what I'm seeing is, with what's been happening in the world today, and not getting into the politics of it or anything else, but if we really go back over the last several years, we have been in a constant state of activation. And even though, we may feel like we're handling it, what ends up happening is the nervous system, it can't maintain when it's constant, right? And I know we'll talk about that a little bit in terms of what happens, but when we look at a long-standing uncertainty where there is constant change happening, there's lots of fear-based information being given, we are being made to disconnect from each other. There's division, there's tension, there's all of these things happening. And our nervous system doesn't just process what's happening directly to us, it
Mm,
processes everything that we're exposed to.
yes.
Everything we're hearing, everything we're seeing, all the stuff we're anticipating, all of that is playing into what is happening inside of our nervous system. And so even if your day to day looks, I'll say, fine, right? On the outside,
Yeah.
your system is still constantly tracking. Is it safe? What's going to happen next? What do I need to prepare for? Right? It's always waiting for that next thing. And when that goes on for long enough, the system doesn't get a clean reset. So it's not able to come back to baseline, and we end up constantly in this activation that never completes to the point where the body shuts down. And so we can talk about all the different states, but one thing that I've really noticed a lot right now is something that I'm actually calling activated freeze. So
Mhm.
we're not just in an activated state, and we're not just in a freeze state. This is kind of a hybrid of the two. And this is happening more and more. It's not quite a functional freeze where I'm in a freeze state, but I'm able to get through my day to day stuff. It
Mhm.
really is this state where my body feels wired. There is a ton of energy, and yet I can't do anything. I can't get myself to do anything with it to move. Like if you think about, your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, right? You're using a lot of energy, you're burning up all that fuel, and yet you're not going anywhere.
That is such a good description. Yes. Yes. We have Pamela Batchelor has joined us, and she said, I'm very curious about this topic. It is very important in my past career.
Okay, great.
Leah Omega is in the doctor's office. Hypnicity has joined us. Cartomancy Mesquite, Angela is here. And and Palava is here. Hello, good to see you.
Hello.
So and you see this, and you are a licensed professional in Canada. So you're seeing this probably not just for yourself, but you're seeing it probably in your clients as well. And
Yes.
so, and
Yeah, across the board, we're seeing this, whether it's, with clients, with people I talk to, students, online, with
oh
Twilio Talk,
yes,
people are coming in saying, like, I have all this energy, or I feel really antsy, or I feel like I just, but I can't do anything.
that's exactly right. Hi, Betsy Palmer. It's good to see
Hello,
you.
hello.
I think what's been interesting for me, and sharing really clearly, um, I've noticed this. I went through a lot of changes the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020 because I retired.
Mm,
And I had planned to take the winter off. And, I had about 2 weeks before we were sheltering in place. And there was a lot of information that was coming in, a lot of stress.
absolutely.
And what came up for me is I wasn't aware of what was going on. And this isn't always about Gerald, but I actually think at a lot of levels I am dysregulated because of the description of things that I discovered in planning this conversation. Uh, um,
Mm,
and it's curious because you and I have both talked about the importance of awareness. We've got to
absolutely.
know, we got to notice what's going on. And so, we are going to end the show with some practical takeaways. So if you're curious about this as we describe things, and you go, "Ooh, yeah, that sort of sounds like something," um, I get that. I understand. So we're going to give some takeaways. Um, I feel like we're on the precipice of something big, not bad, just huge. Certainly, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, and this is it, right? Every time something needs to change, something gets uncomfortable. Otherwise, it wouldn't change.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
Let's start with the idea of what is regulation. This is something you had mentioned, and I was like, going, what is that? Well, regulation is not being emotionless, it's being able to feel stress and still return toward a workable baseline.
absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the thing, right? And most people, when you think about regulation, they think, ah, cool, calm, and collected, right? I'm relaxed, everything is peaceful. That is not regulation. That is a state that we can be, right? We
Hmm.
can be in a state of calm, we can be in a state of relaxation. But regulation is so much more dynamic, right? Because regulation is basically, as you said, it's our system's capacity to experience all of the different states and to move through them without getting stuck,
Hmm.
right? So it's where we have our flexibility, our adaptability, right? Can I experience stress, activation, some kind of emotional intensity, and can I not get lost in it,
Hmm.
right? Can I let myself feel it, move through it, and then come back to my baseline?
Yes. That's beautifully said. It's beautifully said. Um, and Nalani said the COVID years dysregulated me. I said no and lost support of friends and family. I hear you.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. It was a very divisive time.
it really was, and
Mhm.
it was so constant. There
Yeah.
was nothing there. So we that's regulation. Well, what is dysregulation? And by the way, this is the proper spelling of it in the books. Uh, um, Dysregulation for this conversation is when the system gets activated and has trouble settling again.
Mhm.
As you so beautifully said, it's because we're human. We do have these experiences. We should have these emotional responses to things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so often people will go, oh, well, if I feel overwhelmed, I'm dysregulated. Or if I feel anxious or stressed, I'm dysregulated. That's not actually the case, right?
Mhm.
Because if in regulation we can go through all of those states but come back to ourselves, then dysregulation has would also be about feeling those states. Like I can be dysregulated in a hypermanic state, right? Like
Mhm.
dysregulation is just that we're getting stuck in it. It's like there's too much energy in the system and we're stuck, or there's too little energy in the system, right? So it's like we're getting stuck in an urgency or an anxiety, or we're
Mhm.
stuck in an overthinking cycle, or maybe if we go on the other end of that with too little, like we're stuck in numbness, we're stuck in disconnection, right?
Mhm.
And we just can't seem to move through it. That's dysregulation.
Yes. Um, this is so when do we as humans start to learn about the idea of regulation?
Well, I mean, we regulate from the time we're out. We co-regulate, I should say, from the time we come
Co-regulate.
into this world.
Pay attention to that. Co-regulation is, spoiler alert, it's one of the things that can be supportive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, when we are babies and we have to co-regulate because we don't really know what's
Mhm.
happening in the we don't even know where we are, right? Like
Right.
I
Yeah,
was just warm and cozy and everything was fine. And now all of a sudden I'm cold and I don't understand. And you're putting all this stuff on me and I'm
exactly.
hungry.
Yeah.
Right? And so we need that co-regulation in order to calm and soothe. And then over time, the goal is that we learn how to do that for ourselves. But
Mhm.
we know that that often isn't the case because we're conditioned in so many different ways to look outside of ourselves for that regulation.
Sure, sure. It's good to see Bonzo and Cheryl. And Hypnocy, I'm going to hold your question for a second because I do want to talk about, we've talked about this a little bit, the idea of baseline. And it's
Mhm.
your workable center, not perfect calm, as Jennifer was saying, not empty feeling. It's a dynamic range where you can think and choose and rest and connect. It's a lot about the being able to function in a manner that is going to be healthy and to keep you safe. Uh, it's it's stability and it's really dynamic. Um,
Yeah.
so, what else is important for baseline? Do you think?
Yeah. So when we talk about that ability to come back, right? It's like come back to what? And so I like to think of baseline as home base, right? It's our nervous system's version of home base. And it's this
Mhm.
idea of it's a state that our system can return to where if you think about like and again, this is going to be hard because everything changes, but where we would be when there's no immediate demand on it, there's nothing that we need to do, everything feels like it's been taken care of. We can kind of just like that riding the wave, right? Like I'm here,
Mhm.
I'm good, I'm riding it, nothing's taking over, nothing's pulling me down, right? Like that kind of home base state, that
Mhm.
would be our baseline.
Mhm. And Medium Betsy Palmer and I talked about baseline in the sense of in the sense of when you are doing you're finding your grounding or your centering, you need
Mhm.
to know what that looks like for you and stop comparing yourself to others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And not even comparing yourself to yourself. Like comparison is really not helpful here.
No.
And this is where what we were talking about just before the show, where it gets really tricky because people assume that their baseline is just how they feel normally from day to day. But that is not our baseline, right? So if you're here and you're like, yeah, I'm just a little bit anxious, or I tend to overthink, you know, fairly often. Yeah, I'm a little on edge. That's not your baseline, right? It's just that we think that that's our baseline because it's so normal to our experience. And so we end up just going, yeah, yeah, that's just how I am, without realizing that that's actually a slight state of that dysregulation, right? And we've been there for long enough that it becomes our new baseline. So instead of
Exactly.
returning, yeah, to our rest and regulated place, we have this kind of like adaptive pattern of like a new level of baseline. So you use the numbers, and I thought that was a great way to.
So let's say baseline is 0.
Mhm,
There's a couple of ways that I was thinking about this. And let's say we see something that activates us and gets us, gives us a response. So we spike to 7. And then we start to calm down over, and it can take a short amount of time. It can take a couple of days. All of that is normal. You do you. And let's say we get down to about 3, and then suddenly we get activated again,
mhm.
and we're up to 15. And we take a couple of days and we start to, calm down, and we're starting to feel a little bit normal. And then we get down to 7, and we stay at 7 for a while. And we think, okay. But then we get activated again. We go to 25, and then we come down to 10. And over a period of time, this level 10 feels normal,
Yeah.
but we still have this residual effect.
Mhm.
Think of it like a battery. We're at 100%. Great.
Yeah.
And something drains our energy, and we get down to 0.25%. And then we take a little bit of a pause, and then we get back up to 75%. Something else drains our battery, and we get down to 25% again.
Mhm.
And then we get activated again. And so I can't charge. I can't regain to 100%.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Absolutely.
So we have had a couple of people who have left comments, and I appreciate this.
Mhm.
How does empathy impact regulation?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because again, remember, when we talk about nervous system and nervous system awareness, it's all of the things that we're aware of. So, if we're empathetic, our nervous system is also aware of what we're feeling. So, if
Uh-huh.
somebody else is going through something and we meet that person there, our
Yeah.
nervous system doesn't always know the difference between us experiencing it and us witnessing it, or
Ooh.
us connecting to it in some other way. So our nervous system goes, oh, now I'm also feeling all of these things. And so we do have to learn how to regulate through that. And this is the interesting piece when it comes to co regulation, because in that empathetic exchange, if I'm able to stay regulated even while meeting that experience, I can now help that other person come into regulation. But
Mm,
if I get dysregulated at the same time, now we're not actually helping each other, and that empathetic connection isn't helpful.
that's really powerful. That's really, really powerful. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
I'm glad you asked the question. That's a wonderful question. Um,
Absolutely.
what if baseline disappeared?
As in, like, it's just so high, it's gone? Or as in, I've hit such a shutdown that I don't even know what's happened, like, I've gone into the basement of baseline.
Yeah, Kelly, I appreciate you asking this question. This is one of those times when if you can't find your baseline, that's the perfect time for you to get some help, get some
Mhm.
assistance. There are people who are, professionals who are really, really good at their job, and they meet you where you are so that you can make some of those changes. Um, so, would
Yeah.
you like to say anything else about that? I think it's one of those things. It's like that's really honest, and yeah, I'm hoping that we'll have some practical tips for you to consider to try to help find things.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and remember too, like, when we're talking about our baseline, it's it's a place where we can be present. Like, if nothing else, it's like, okay, I might feel stressed, and I might feel a little exhausted, and I might feel all of these things, but I can be present in this moment, And I
Yeah.
don't have to be like defensive in my body. My mind has a little bit of space, right? I have just some access to my energy,
Hmm.
right? Like that is wherever that falls for us, that's generally our baseline, right? And it doesn't mean that it's our permanent baseline, right? Like Gerald said, it might be our 10 baseline versus our 0 baseline,
Yes. Yes.
right? But wherever that is for us at this moment, that's the baseline that we have adapted to.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, Thank you for that. We have Timmy did share, said a baseline would be a balance point in my practice, not the center of a line between points, but the center point of a sphere,
Mhm.
a calmness in many parallel points of perception. It's a meditative state.
Yeah,
Nicely
it's
said, Timmy.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Hypnicity said balance, finding common ground, even keel, non-duality. Timmy did follow up and said, I've been trying to live in that state in day-to-day life recently. I try to feel it when I'm driving.
Great.
Okay. Kelly also shared meditation for the nonstop mind focus on breath, focus on breath, focus on breath. Dang it, where was I? Yeah. Some people do find meditation a really helpful practice. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, we're gonna have some other great suggestions too. Shining Love Light Truth said, I feel my baseline is yes, balance, peace. We all know ourselves. I breathe through upgrades, activation, lots of breathing.
Mhm.
That is
Breathing
that
is a wonderful way to bring yourself back to baseline. Remember, like
absolutely.
baseline is like that low level activation. So again, like it can be very, very calm. It can be the eye of the storm. Either way, it's that place where I can be present in the moment, even if everything is spinning all around me.
Hmm.
Right. So, yes, in meditation and things like that, where we can completely calm all of that, that's a beautiful place to be in baseline, right? But baseline, as we said, is not just in the calm. It can also be in that eye of the storm energy where it's things are going on, but I have the capacity to navigate them.
That's a really important point. Again, going back, regulated, it isn't emotionless. It's being able to experience those emotions while still doing the things we need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, I think about, you know, if like it's really hard to stay, let's say the eye of the storm as the example, right? It's really hard to stay in that center point where centered, yes,
Oh, look.
where oh,
Go
the
ahead.
computer loves it. Where where everything is kind of that low level activation. But maybe I get pulled a little bit into the storm and now I'm swirling around and I'm dealing with all of that. And then I can come back to that center. And then I
Mhm.
get pulled into here and I swirl around in that a little bit, but I'm able to come back to that center, right? That's what we're talking about. Dysregulation is when I'm stuck and I'm just in that swirling and I'm in it. And that's all there is to it, right? Where regulation is that ability to be in it, but knowing that I can come right back, right? I can come back to that baseline. I'm here and I'm going to come back, right? So that baseline is the grounding point. That's why I call it home base for regulation, because it's like I can go out and I can come back. That's the beauty of being able to be in that regulated space.
Mhm. And then the challenge is when we are dysregulated, we are in that state so long, we think that that's our balanced state,
Yeah.
and it's not. Hi, Linda De Gonzalez.
Hello, hello.
The ability to be fully present in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all right. I with all of this, I think we have. I think it's curious. Is first we have to notice that something is going on with us, and and really honest, yes, it is a process. It's very much
Hmm.
a process. And again, this is a first introduction to this topic here. I want people to get some practical takeaways. And for me, hold on just a second. Thank you. Part of what is for me is, as I was understanding this, as I said to you, Jennifer, I think I'm pretty dysregulated.
Hmm.
My dysregulation is such that my level of calm, it
Yeah.
looks very different than what it used to. And there's not a quick fix with this.
Mm-mm.
It's there's just
No, but there's been a couple comments, like Shining Love Light Truth was talking about like the nervous system having a voice, right? And how to differentiate and determine how we're feeling around different energy.
Mhm.
And that's it. Like in a regulated system, we know what it feels like to be at our baseline. We know what it feels like to be pulled, right? We understand and we learn. And again, it's not 100%. We don't always get it, but we kind of learn like, okay, am I being pulled from something because it's mine? Am I being pulled from something because it's collective? Am I being pulled from something because it's the energy that I just entered? Am I being pulled because somebody is sending that energy my way, right? There's all of these different reasons why we can suddenly feel dysregulated in a moment and go, am I stuck in this? If I'm stuck in it, that's the dysregulation piece. If I've just gone into it, it's like, okay, I'm feeling something, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm dysregulated,
Correct.
right? It's that ability to come back, right? That's what we always want to do. So yeah, I actually use an example for people who want to learn about feeling and how sensitive they are to others' energies. And I say, go to the supermarket, right? So you start with, how did I feel in my house? How did I feel when I left my
Mhm.
house?
Mhm.
How did I feel as I was driving there? How did I feel when I pulled into the parking lot?
Yes.
How did I feel when I got out of my car? Like, what am I sensing as I go into the store? Each aisle, is there something shifting? Is there something changing? What am I feeling into? It really helps us to understand the way that our nervous system, because that's the senses that we're feeling, is tapping into all of the energies around us,
Mhm.
right? So we can learn how to differentiate our energy
From the
from,
other.
yeah, from the other.
Yeah. I know, like Jeffrey, my husband, he when we first uh got together, he worked at a job that it was a 40-minute drive home, and now he has a job that it's about 20 minutes to home. And that's not enough time for him to, from the drive, somebody mentioned about driving, it's not enough time for him to process the day. And sometimes you've got to know what works for you. Is it going to help you by taking a bath, a shower, having a cup of coffee, a water, hydrate? And so noticing that is really very important.
Absolutely. And this is something else that has shifted, and I'm so glad you brought it up because, we went through like COVID and shutdown and things like that, and a lot of people shift to working to home from home. And I know at least here there's a big push for people to go back, but there's still a lot of people that are working from home. And there is, that decompression time where you were able to release the day and then kind of step into what was next,
Yes.
that is gone,
Hmm.
right? For
Yeah.
so many people.
Yeah. And I do know there's this idea of, if you are working from home, the idea is that you have an office. So when you're done with your working hours, you close the door. There is a separation between home and work.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
let's see.
absolutely.
Yeah.
but also giving yourself that decompression time, right?
Decompression.
Again,
Yes.
especially if you know, work in a field where you are, you know, being activated throughout the day. And that can be anything that, you know, causes even the tiniest bit of activation, right? So being able to go, okay, I need to decompress from this before I step into the next energy that is going to activate me in yet another way. Again, like Gerald was saying, like if this is my baseline, and then I've been activated, and I only let myself calm to here. And then I step in and I'm activated, activated. And I'm not giving
Absolutely.
myself those opportunities. Like this is now where I'm operating. And I have to be able to bring myself back down.
And it is when you are activated and you're at that level, people around you notice the difference. They may not be able to articulate it, but
Yeah.
they notice. Pets and children are very, very receptive to this. It's like, something's not quite there.
Mm-hmm.
With one of the first, practical takeaway is the idea of creating a news container. Um, Take a break from social media.
Mm-hmm.
Take a break from the news. The Center for Disease Control explicitly recommends this because constant negative information can be upsetting.
Absolutely. Remember, nervous system doesn't differentiate between a lived experience and a witnessed experience.
Very powerful. Very powerful. And yes, it is a feeling. And humility and insight allow us to be kind to ourselves. It took me a long time to learn how to be kind to myself in a default action.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really good.
Absolutely. Well, and this is such an important thing because if you know, whether you're in an activated state or if you're in a dorsal state, maybe you're shut down, maybe you're, you know, in that fight, right? We say fight, flight, freeze, fawn, shut down,
Hmm.
right? And so, you know, but if we're in kind of a hybrid state, which so many are, it's like, okay, I have no motivation, but I'm, you know, not really anxious, but I also feel this energy in me and I don't know what to do with it. And I don't know how to conserve my energy because I'm shutting down. But I also, right, like there's this inconsistent way of even understanding the energy that's happening. And this is why conversations like this and having space like this is so important because
Hmm.
it does allow us to come together and bring awareness to
Yes.
it. And awareness
I
is like that first step in, oh, now I can do something.
Yeah, I love that because I'm just like going, maybe maybe I am not really getting to my baseline. And some of the things that I thought, oh, they're just laziness or bad habits, maybe it's a sign of dysregulation. Oh,
Yeah.
something that I think is a really key thing is creating a news container. Access that news container when you are feeling your best and you know who you are. You've either had a good night's sleep, you've had your coffee, maybe it's the first thing in the morning, maybe it's after lunch, something like that, when it can be in a time and a place to where it's safe for you because then you can find your balance again.
Hmm.
Now,
Absolutely.
the idea of the practical tip is use a body-based shutdown. And this is this is where I'm like going, exercise, regular meals, hydration, and sleep are all recommended by the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health because that promotes self-care and it's good for one's mental health. These
Hmm.
are habits. And
Yeah.
I'm getting overly excited, but this is the thing that I was going, wait a minute, wait a minute. The body, as a downshift, it's like I wasn't paying attention to all of those relaxation things. That also leads into the idea of the basics. That's the exercise, the routines, the healthy routines that we develop.
Hmm.
So, but yeah,
Yeah,
but
absolutely. Well, and it's such an important thing to recognize too that dysregulation is not just a mental thing. It doesn't just happen in the mind, right? Our mind is can become dysregulated, but our body also is being dysregulated. That's the nervous system response to it. Emotionally, we can be in that state. All of these things can come into play, and so we really want to have a holistic way of navigating that energy, right? So there
and,
are tools that we can use that will calm the body and clear the mind, right? That will allow us to do this body based downshift,
mhm.
but also will go, "Whew, okay, the mind actually can stop spiraling in this moment."
And we've talked about that, or I've talked about this before. The idea of a breath is
Mhm.
actually it is giving your body what it needs to help find its balance and to help get stabilized.
Absolutely. And, we say breath work, and people go, ugh, breath work doesn't work. Yeah, breathing, just breathing. How many of us don't actually breathe,
Mhm.
right? It's, yeah, okay, very shallow, right? We're taking this
Yes.
very
Oh,
shallow breaths. We're not allowing ourselves to really get fully oxygenated. And this is important. I remember years and years and years ago, going to get a massage done and having the massage therapist say, "You barely breathe." And I went, what do you mean? And then I started paying attention to my breath and did a lot of work to take those deep breaths, to have my body naturally breathe more,
mhm.
right? And it's one of those things that we're not conscious of if we're not paying attention, if we're not intentional about it, and we're not aware. We just go, yeah, yeah, I breathe. But the body is actually not getting the oxygen it needs to be able to have that downshift.
Correct. That's a great reminder. The protecting the basics exercise is something that I've been doing for, I think I'm on week 28, week 29 of doing a daily walk every day. Of course, I'm doing a daily walk every day because that's what a daily walk means. Um, but it is an interesting thing because I'm getting out there and moving my body.
Mhm.
When I was working, I was always moving because I was walking to meetings and walking up downstairs, things like that. It's just like, ooh. So that regular meals, a sleep pattern that is
Mhm.
supportive. I know people who set up at 10:30, they turn off their devices so that they can unwind.
Yeah,
So, um, and so Um, Pamela said, just to be present for a few moments while breathing in, or while breathing, is the first step in mindfulness.
absolutely.
Yes, I like that.
Absolutely.
Did you want to say anything else about that, protecting the basics?
Yeah, this is the other thing that's really important when it comes to the narratives that we tell ourselves, right? This kind of protecting the basics, because we can get into a place where, we're telling ourselves, "Oh, I'm tired, but I'm okay.
Mm,
I should eat, but you know what? I'll get to it later."
mhm.
Right? This idea of like I have to just push through. I have to just get this thing done. The way that the world has conditioned us to put off the things that are actually vitally important to our well-being. I'll get to that in a minute,
Yeah,
right? And so just notice if those narratives are there, and again, take that breath, be intentional and go, "You know what? Me taking care of me is actually going to help me to be able to do this thing better."
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So that's going to help in protecting those basics if we notice what we're telling ourselves and the narratives we have there.
Pamela shared, self talk is important to me too. Self soothing. It is such a powerful coping tool.
Absolutely.
Timmy,
Absolutely. And this,
go ahead.
I was just going to say that comes back to that ability to self-regulate, right? Our ability to self-soothe, our ability to bring ourselves back, to let ourselves know it's okay. And, to talk ourselves through it. That's all part of that self-regulation process.
Yeah. Timmy did share chest breathing versus belly breathing. I remember learning that in gym class in high school. I've practiced that ever since. Belly breathing is where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really
Absolutely.
key point. I love that, Timmy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Co-regulate with others. This is where the idea of staying connected to friends and family who can provide emotional support, practical help, who can actually point out what you may be missing is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful thing. What do you think about co-regulating with other people, Jennifer?
Well, and this comes back to what we were talking about when we were talking about empathy, right? Co-regulation is wonderful if the other person is regulated.
True.
But the other side of that is, if let's say, Gerald, we got into this big argument, right? Most people get so activated that they go and they're like, that's it, we'll talk later, right? And I think that there is definitely room for space, and all of that can be very important. But if we could just sit together and breathe through it, we would actually co-regulate and probably come back into regulation faster, because that divisiveness is no longer allowed in our energy.
Oh, nice.
Right? So we don't have to talk about it. We're not going to deal with it right now. We are giving ourselves that space. But we're going to sit here and we're going to breathe.
Yes.
Right? And know that we're still here for each other and we still care. Right? It's such a different way of allowing ourselves to be in the energy together so that we can actually co-regulate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those things that I learned is if you're really upset and you're going to be angry, the idea of saying, hang on a minute, I will be right back. And you use that as an excuse to go away, take some breaths, go to the bathroom. That is an opportunity for you to go, oh, wait a minute. I think, okay, it's that sharing that space.
Yeah.
Linda says co-regulate with pets.
Oh, yes.
That message is TarotStache approved. I absolutely
Absolutely.
love it. I love that.
Again, as long as they're being calm.
Yeah, I think that's really very helpful.
Absolutely. Animals are wonderful for that. And they generally know too when we're not feeling well or when we're feeling stressed out.
I like how you said if we are when we want to co-regulate, we have to make sure that those people are actually regulated. We all see things online, the bait and switch videos, the reels, where it's just like, I can't believe what happened. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. Well, what it does is it creates an echo chamber for then that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some videos about somebody who's actually saying, I'm really struggling right now, so I'm going to actively work on coming back to baseline. I'm going to take some breaths.
Absolutely.
That would be really powerful.
Absolutely. I think this was because you had mentioned earlier about some videos, like the shorts that I did. And I was like, which ones? I don't remember. Because most of the time, if they come up, it's just like I'm told, do it. I do it. And then I don't even remember I did it. But yes, there was one that's coming to mind now. And it was that idea. I went on and I was like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the anger. I'm feeling the frustration. I'm feeling all of the things. But I'm also recognizing that I'm okay in the midst of it, right? There is that place of, I could see how I could let myself go into that dysregulation. I also can see how I can embrace that regulation and allow this to kind of storm around me. And this is where, the spheres of consciousness idea comes from, where I can actually sit with that anger and sit with love. I can sit with frustration and I can sit with gratitude. I can sit with all of these energies together. And that really helps in our ability to regulate through some of the things that often pull us out of regulation.
That is well said. That is very well said. Here's something for us to consider is know when to get practical help. What's knowing, if when we stay connected with our friends and we do the things that we have tried to do, we set those boundaries. But if this is severe, it's really hard for us. You can say, oh, if it lasts more than 2 weeks and you're having problems with sleeping or appetite changes, concentration difficulties, complete usual task, irritability, frustration, restlessness, this is for entertainment purposes only. If you notice that that's been going on a long time, it might be time to go, wait a minute, I just need to check in. I need to do something. What do you have to say about that? Because you're available for people.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is, seeking help with somebody, with a professional. It takes a lot of courage, right? And it's important that you find the right fit. So many times I've had people go, oh, I've tried that and it just doesn't work. I've had people come to me and be like, I've seen 3 or 4 therapists and I kind of gave up, but I figured I'd give it one more try, right? Like, I think that there is a piece here where, again, that idea of co-regulation, like, we want to make sure that whoever it is that we're going to work through some of these things can hold that space for us, and that is a good fit. So don't be afraid to, and I know this is hard, when we're already in a place where we feel completely dysregulated, when we're in that activated freeze, where it's like, I can't do anything, I can't get off the gas and the brake, and I'm feeling really stuck. It's hard to go, I'm going to call 4 or 5 different people and get a feel for them to decide who's going to be the right fit. I get that, but it's such an important thing to make sure that whoever you do see does feel like a good fit for you.
Yes. And sometimes, we have that friend, the partner who can help us co-regulate, but sometimes you need someone who is not as close to it to offer a suggestion for an approach to deal with the situation. It's like, I never thought of that. So,
absolutely.
Pamela did share, we probably appreciate and value regulation more when we experience dysregulation. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to be around dysregulated people. Feel all weird and jittery. That that awareness is a good thing, Linda, because suddenly it's people may be in some sort of a change or in some sort of a stress, and for somebody to actually say, hey, are you okay? I'm noticing there's a lot of energy, or you feel jittery.
Yeah.
That might tick them off, but it's also it's somebody recognizing that something's going on, and the relationship that you have, if somebody says, wait a minute, am I really okay? Maybe. So.
Yeah. Well, this, for again, most people watching here probably have that kind of empathic connection, that kind of clairsentience, where we're feeling into what's going on with the other person. And so even to just go, ooh, I'm suddenly feeling a little bit of something. I wonder where that's coming from. But saying it out loud, right?
Yes.
To the other person can help the other person go, oh, I wonder if that's me, right? Like, it has that ability to open the door for the conversation by owning the experience without necessarily calling somebody out with it.
Absolutely. I love that. It just, and that is a great opportunity to when we articulate it, it's suddenly we shift the energy around it. It's like it's not just happening to us unaware. We are suddenly aware of something. It's like something's going on, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
After working 45 years in a hospital, I just call dysregulation life.
Oh my.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah. Well, it's, again, this idea of, bringing your system back, and how do we do that? And this is the other thing that I think is really important, because I recognize, time, but we will do a lot of work to regulate ourselves when we feel dysregulated. We need to be doing that work even when we feel regulated, because if I am only doing that breathing work when I'm dysregulated, remember that idea of if I'm at 0 and then I go up to 10, I come back down to 3, I go up to 15, I come back to 7, right? And so on and so forth. If I'm only ever regulating when I feel dysregulated, I'm not getting that baseline back down. But if I feel good, I feel like I'm at my baseline, cool, I'm going to do a breathing exercise. I'm going to do a meditation. I'm going to do some work to calm. All of a sudden, I'm calming myself in that state. I'm bringing it down. I'm bringing the baseline down, right? And each time I do that, I get to a place where I go, oh, wow, I haven't felt this in a long time. This feels really good. And then I want to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's the idea of what do you do before enlightenment? Chop wood and carry water. What do you do after enlightenment? Chop wood and carry water.
Yes.
Pamela did share life forces us to find and establish ways to regulate ourselves in order to survive and thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Pamela said teamwork is essential. I think it very much could be. I think sometimes people say, well, I'm an introvert. That it's okay. You can still be part of a team as an introvert and share space.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I come on these shows and do all of that talking, but I recharge alone. I'm very much an introvert. But you can be that and hold space for somebody. That is not an issue at all. It's really about how you recharge and making sure that you're taking that time to recharge properly and fully.
And whatever works for you works for you. I think this is a great place to end. And maybe we'll do a show too if people would like it. The idea of is we need to work on our regulation whilst we're regulated.
Mm.
And really get that sense of connection and learn how to do it without the stress of having to do it.
Absolutely. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So I know we're running out of time, but actually on my website, which is down below, there was a Trilla talk with Tanis, and I walked through several regulation tools with energy medicine and nervous system, vagus nerve regulation, and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so at the bottom of the home page of my website, I actually have the timestamps for the talk,
nice.
so that I don't have to walk you through all of them right now, but you can go there, you can take a look at that with the timestamps, and I walk you through the basic exercise, tracing, calming triple warmer, allowing yourself to do the triple warmer hug. Like I give all of the explanations for what all of the different things are and how to do them.
I love that. Linda shared, my fully regulated state feels freaking magical. I don't get there often, but when I do, oh man, indescribable.
Wonderful.
And I knew Jane the Seeker was going to be watching. She said, I don't understand being human. I'll have to watch from the beginning. I'm glad you're watching. And I think that idea of how this works for people who are empathic, knowing what to do with that, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that needs to be the next show, really diving into the empathic stuff, and also what downloads do to our nervous system. and the
Ooh.
impact that all of that has on feeling dysregulated or activated. And I mean, all of this plays into, what is happening inside of our nervous system, because our bodies
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to differentiate these things.
Yes, I'm writing that down. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Wow. Jennifer, any thoughts that you would like to share? Hi, Lexi.
Hello, hello. Um, yeah, I think the biggest thing that comes up for me with everything that we've been talking about is be kind to yourself, right? Give yourself grace for wherever you're at, and then allow yourself to just figure out what works for you to bring yourself back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gently, compassionately, and with that love.
That's beautiful. I mean, thank you everybody for being here with this conversation. Take what helps and go gently with yourself.
Mhm.
Remember this: awareness can replace guilt with understanding. If you have learned that, oh, this is what it is, that can take away the guilt about it. So if this episode gave you some language or support, share it with somebody who might need it. It's part of the beautiful thing that we need to continue to do. And I'd love to normalize the fact of I got to take a minute to find my regulation. Is
Mhm.
really powerful. So like and subscribe, because I have a feeling we're going to be doing a part 2. Thanks, everybody.